Hello, my movie loving peeps. Thank you so much for clicking on an episode of Side Flick. My name is Chris. I've got movie news off to the side. Let's talk about it. Some of the things we're going to be discussing here today is we finally have the confirmation James Gunn will be directing the new Superman movie. And while we're talking DC, we have a small bit of drama that just occurred, as well as even talking about this situation where Marvel is trying to sue and capture the people who posted Ant-Man leaks. That along with so much more, so I'm going to you guys give me your opinions down below with everything we discuss here today. There will be timestamps in the description. As a quick shameless plug, I want to thank you guys for supporting the videos on the channel. I just reviewed John Wick 4. Last night I got the chance to watch Shazam! Fury of the Gods, so I'll be posting a review on that soon. And I'm hard at work on my Scream 7 prediction video because I'm really excited to see what the next chapter of that universe is going to look like. And tonight I'm watching Dungeons and Dragons, so I'll have a review for that too, you guys. But okay, jumping into our first movie news story here today, you guys know sometimes I like to find up-and-coming movies that maybe not a lot of people are talking about, but they spark my interest because they got an interesting plot. We have Deadline here reporting that Jack Black and Farley brothers reunite for a Christmas comedy titled Dear Santa at Paramount. Now, you might recognize the Farley brothers for being responsible for one of my favorite comedies, Dumb and Dumber, and everybody around here obviously also loves Jack Black, so get a load of this plot. The movie centers on a young boy who, in writing his yearly note to Santa, mixes up the letters and sends it to Satan instead. Black recently teased the project on social media when he posted a photo of him posing with Christmas decorations with no context. It got everyone talking about it. What could it be? And again, to me, that's just one of those plot synopsis that you're like, that actually sounds like that could be a really fun movie. It's just leaving us to wonder, who's Jack Black playing, you know? I think an obvious choice would be Satan. Not because Jack Black is an evil man at all, but you know, he's voicing Bowser in the Mario movie. He's got that gnarly, growly, deep voice. He can probably pull off a pretty fun Satan. But part of me wouldn't mind seeing him as a holly jolly Santa Claus, you know, trying to save this kid before he ends up in the clutches of this devil. And even just thinking about the concept of this world in general. So Santa Claus exists, Satan exists, you send Satan a letter, is that guy gonna deliver his presents? I think it has the potential to be a really fun movie. I thought I'd bring it up to you guys and see what you think. Are you excited for Jack Black's Dear Santa movie? But now bringing us to talk about reboots, sequels, and IPs, the thing that keeps this channel alive. The Hollywood Reporter has it here that Smile filmmaker Parker Finn signs first look deal with Paramount. And along with this first look deal with Paramount, the very first thing they want to get started with is a sequel to Smile. Smile to me was one of the surprising horror movies of last year. It was a film I completely dismissed from the trailer. I thought it was just going to be generic garbage. Then when I went to actually go see the film, I wiped all my expectations, gave it the benefit of the doubt, and it was actually a really good suspenseful horror movie. And because the film turned out actually being good, people spread the word and actually showed up to the theater over and over, having it gross over $200 million worldwide on a budget of $17 million. Yeah, it's a no-brainer why they would want to do a sequel here, and I'm kind of down for it, especially if you're going to give Kyle Gallner now the star leading role, because I don't want to spoil it too much for you, but by the end of the movie, it feels like he could carry on to the next one, and I've been waiting for my boy Kyle Gallner to get some sort of leading role in a horror film. He's showed up in so many, and this isn't even a situation of, oh, they're already going to milk it. They're just going to try and do this Smile franchise till we get 5 or 6 lame sequels. There's a lot of interesting things you could do here. I mean, there's a creature that shows up at the end of the first Smile movie that haunted me, man. There's like one visual in this film where a character has its mouth open, and I'm just like, that was messed up. Give me more of that thing. So hopefully that's the route they go down. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Smile 2, and I'm happy studios like Paramount are eager to make more horror projects so we could get more fun stuff like this. What do you guys think about Smile 2 happening, and what is your wish list for it? Bringing us to another story that broke earlier in the week that was kind of a hot button issue here. Reports were coming out that Marvel was looking to sue people who were responsible for leaking the script of Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania online. And Kevin Feige did not come to play. He busted out an actual subpoena, got legal documents involved to the point that a Marvel subreddit known as Marvel Studios Spoilers, which if you don't know is where like 80 to 90% of the spoilers for Marvel movies start getting spread around. It was kind of like a perfect hub if you want to know what's going to happen in the next Marvel film, or heck, what's even planning to be happening in some of the next couple of movies. You could get on this subreddit, read about it, and then ruin all the surprises for you before you see the film. And Marvel right now is trying trying to look for the exact individuals that leak that stuff, and I think they want to make examples out of them. If this legal process works out and they get names, oh, they're gonna plaster them and they're gonna fine them thousands of dollars and start making other people who might leak stuff kind of worried it could happen to them. Now, as soon as this report broke, I saw a lot of fans online going, really? They're gonna do this for Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania? Didn't feel like so many leaks were really out there for it. What happened to like Avengers Endgame or Spider-Man No Way Home? Literally, Spider-Man No Way Home had its entire movie online months before it got released. The big difference between those movies and Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania? Ant-Man is underperforming. The whole purpose in suing and trying to go after these people and find them is in court. You have to prove their actions cost the studio money. It's kind of hard to prove you spoiling Spider-Man No Way Home cost us a lot of money when in the pandemic that almost made $2 billion. You didn't really cost them any money. But then you look at something like Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania that is underperforming in the Ant-Man franchise, is having their big star player, Kang the Conqueror, who's the next big Thanos, you know? It was kind of supposed to be a knockout movie for Marvel, and it's not doing so great. In my opinion, Ant-Man is underperforming, not because it leaked online, but because it's Marvel fatigue. I still don't think Ant-Man was a bad movie, but it was a pretty average Marvel film that contains a lot of the things some people are getting sick and tired of, and I think that's the real reason people were kind of underwhelmed or uninterested in going for it. But even if Marvel knows that, they're going to ignore that and still try to use that against these people. And you know, it's been about a week and that Marvel subreddit is still gone, you know. People used to use that to make all kinds of YouTube videos and report things and whatnot. Scoopers who claim they have the inside source lost their source because it was a Reddit page, not a real source. It'd be really wild if the result of all this means the end of that subreddit page, that maybe we don't get as many Marvel spoilers and leaks online, and I'd be all up for that, man. I kind of miss the days when you'd go into a Marvel movie and you wouldn't see someone on TikTok, Facebook, or whatever just automatically ruin the movie for you in one little post. It's not that these people are seeking out the spoilers, sometimes they just get put out there. But I throw it off to you guys. Do you think Marvel actually taking legal action towards people who leak stuff is going to make a difference, or are people still going to find a way to do it either way? Bringing us now into the DC world, because some interesting updates have been happening. We're going to talk about some cool and some kind of Starting off with the kind of we recently had Ben Affleck do an interview with the Hollywood Reporter where he's just kind of updating us on his life. He's got that Nike movie coming out, Air, that looks really good. I kind of can't wait to see that. But in this interview, he was asked about, you know, directing an upcoming DC movie with James Gunn, because there have been tons of rumors online that Ben Affleck could possibly direct a DC movie, and even James Gunn has said that Ben Affleck is interested in it. And this is what Ben had to say. So if DC came to you now and said, do you want to direct something? Ben replies with, I would not direct something for James Gunn's DC. Absolutely not. I have nothing against James Gunn. Nice guy. Sure, he's going to do a great job. I just wouldn't want to go in and direct in the way they're doing that. I'm not interested in that. And that kind of was shocking to hear for some DC fans, because this is what James Gunn said only just a month or couple weeks ago. When Gunn's DC slate was announced, the filmmakers said they're working with Ben Affleck, adding that he really wants to be part of our architecture team trying to bring things together, and he really wants to direct one of our projects. We're looking forward to him doing that. In a subsequent Twitter post, Gunn reiterated this point. Met with Ben yesterday precisely because he wants to direct, and we want him to direct. Gunn wrote, we just want to find the right project. So it's kind of like, what's actually happening here? Ben Affleck here is saying, look, James Gunn's a nice guy. I have no interest in going to DC. I don't want to direct a movie with them. James Gunn is saying, oh, Ben really wants to. He wants to join our architecture team, and he really wants to direct a movie. It's creating some conflict online, and DC fans are using this to weaponize it against James Gunn. Now, there's a lot of angles we could look at this here. For one, whenever James Gunn first came out about a month ago saying Ben Affleck is interested to work with us, he wants to be part of our DC team, I was surprised. I love Ben Affleck, his version of Batman, and I always think he was done dirty and had so much potential he never got to fulfill. But being on top of movie news and stuff, I always saw the interviews where Ben Affleck was like, I don't want to be part of DC. I don't want to be Batman. I lost my passion. Doing the Justice League movie kind of ruined things for me. Heck, even in the same interview, Ben Affleck says, Justice League made me go, I'm out. I never want to do any of this again. I'm not suited. That was the worst experience I've ever seen in a business business which is full of some shitty experiences. It broke my heart. And that was when he was doing reshoots for the Joss Whedon version of the Justice League. His mind didn't change since then, so I always found it weird that James Gunn told us he sat down, had a meeting with him, and Ben Affleck was eager to jump in the DC universe. I was like, no way he would. He doesn't have an interest in this world. And this is what I keep talking about with like James Gunn. I'm someone who still really trusts him. I think he's going to do a great job with DC, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. But at the same time, I'll be honest about my criticisms with him. I still think he's a little too transparent on Twitter and answering fans any little thing they ask of him. It wasn't that long ago he got into a Twitter fight with a fan because they called him a liar about him saying he never wanted to run DC, he never wanted to make a Superman movie, and now he's doing those things. And I think calling James Gunn a liar is such a strong word because he did give good reasonings for why he decided to switch up on that stuff, and people are allowed to change their mind. But this right here is one of those situations where James Gunn being a little too transparent and telling fans things like, yeah, Ben Affleck is in, guys, he's gonna do a project, where then Ben comes out and says, I have no interest in doing that. I don't want to do that. It's that thing that fires back in your butt, Mr. Gunn. And now for the rest of time, as you're running DC, those DC fans that are bottom-feeding a-holes are going to use that against you and always put it under your replies. And that's something that could have been avoided if he wasn't always tweeting vague information. And again, I should be jumping up and down every time James Gunn tweets something DC. It gives me an excuse to make an 8 to 10 minute video, earn that sweet revenue. Heck, I have James Gunn's tweets on alerts right now. If the man farts, I'm gonna be the first to sniff it. But really, getting back to the point at hand, it kind of sucks Ben Affleck will never really be part of the DC universe again. I'm excited to see his Flash cameo, the kind of end of his character. I did have a silver lining of hope that maybe one day he'd return to do something, and who knows, maybe their meeting did go good. I can see James Gunn being such a nice person, Ben just being polite back, that Gunn got the wrong idea, that he was eager to join in when Ben was just taking the meeting as a courtesy, as a nice business gesture, when in the back of his mind, he knew he was never going to commit to anything James Gunn offered him. So in the end, I'm happy Ben Affleck is doing his own thing and is happy now, and I'm still excited for what James Gunn has to do with DC, even if it doesn't involve Ben. And well, speaking about that, we finally got the confirmation that James Gunn will be directing Superman Legacy. You know, the day James Gunn announced that he would be running DCU with Peter Safran, he also confirmed that he'd be writing a Superman movie, that it would be kind of a younger day Superman film. We'd get past his origin, but we'd see him as a reporter in Metropolis for the Daily Planet, but we never got the confirmation whether he wanted to direct the movie or not, and I was hopeful he would, man. I think James Gunn is the best person to take his own writing and put that on screen. I don't see why there's some people really nervous with him directing the film when he's turned out nothing but amazing superhero films. The Guardian films are all great, his Suicide Squad film was awesome, so I was going to be disappointed if anybody else but James Gunn directed this film. And well, along with his announcement for the new Superman movie, he also gave us kind of a small plot synopsis. He said here, Superman Legacy tells the story of Superman's journey to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as Clark Kent of Smallville, Kansas. He is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way, guided by human kindness in a world that sees kindness as old-fashioned. And that kind of brings to light a little bit more about that tagline, Superman Legacy. Whenever they announced that title, I was even kind of like, really, you're gonna add legacy? Isn't that kind of like a cliche add-on title? But now knowing this is kind of the plot they're going for, it is about Superman's legacy, you know? It's like, I'm a Kryptonian from this planet, last of my kind, but I'm also just a small boy from Kansas trying to make it in the big city. What is my legacy? What should I build towards? I also really love that line about Superman leaning into kindness when the world sees kindness as old-fashioned. Just thinking about what it's gonna look like, who's gonna be in it, what it leads us into for the DC universe, because I mentioned I saw Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I'm not gonna give any spoilers or anything, but there is a post-credit scene in that movie that makes it obvious to me whether we're going to see Shazam again or not. And for me, it's still hard seeing the exact vision for what James Gunn is planning. You know, what is he doing? I really wanted a whole wiping of the slate, complete reboot, but it's going halfway with it, and hopefully it works out. That's why I throw it off to you guys. James Gunn is now officially directing Superman Legacy. Are you happy, or did you think somebody else was better suited for the job? But that is all movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.